Crunchyroll now controls approximately 75% of the anime streaming market. This dominant position raises important questions about competition and distribution. The company has expanded significantly, becoming a key player in both licensing and producing anime content. The dominance of Crunchyroll means that many viewers now turn to this single platform for most of their anime needs. Despite its growth, Crunchyroll has remained silent on its involvement with major Netflix exclusive series. This lack of clarity adds a layer of complexity to its business practices. Industry observers note that such exclusivity could limit the availability of certain titles to a broader audience. The interplay between Crunchyroll and Netflix reflects broader trends in the streaming landscape, where exclusivity often shapes viewer experiences. Well, guys, I mean, seeing this title, there's multiple articles on this. By the way, you have an article like this, you have an article like this talking about it. There's quite a few people talking about it. There's a Reddit post about it as well. There's a few people talking about this, and I saw this grace my feed, and I was just like, really? Is it actually true that Crunchyroll controls 75% of anime being produced, or 75% of anime they have licensed under their umbrella, and they are allowing the West to see? If that is indeed the case, and this number is actually accurate, that's a pretty scary thing, because it's like, there is just so much more that Crunchyroll can control, but the fact that they've already managed to make it this far, it's a monopoly. It's exactly what I and so many others have been saying for a very long time, but it's very clear. If this number is indeed accurate, and Crunchyroll legitimately has licensed, and they are connected with over 75% of all titles of anime that's produced on a yearly basis, it's already over. Like, it's like we're already seeing the spiral, the death rattles of anime culture itself, because this right here, this is what I've been talking about, this is what I've been warning about, this is what many of us have been worried about for a very long time, and this is scary. So, before we go any further, let's continue reading this article, and then we'll dive more into what this overall all means. So, the impact on viewers. The reality that Crunchyroll controls such a significant portion of the market leads to an important implications for viewers. With so many titles in one place, users may find it convenient. However, it also raises concerns about content diversity and accessibility. A single platform yielding substantial control can shape the types of shows produced. As a result, viewers may miss out on a broader array of storytelling. Competition within the anime streaming sector is crucial for ensuring varied content. When one platform holds the majority, creative risk may diminish. The rise of Crunchyroll creates challenges for smaller distributors. Traditional anime fans have historically favored diverse sources, making this shift noteworthy. So this entire segment right here is very interesting. I like this little opinion piece or little addition here to this article, because I think this really does reflect the negatives of, Crunchyroll controlling the vast amount of the market. Honestly, this statement can be applied to pretty much any company. I think if there's any company that controls like 75 or even over 50% of the content of that certain entertainment, that's not good. It's not. No company should have a monopoly, because the risk of it, and I think I should explain this, is that if a company holds a monopoly, they don't need to innovate. They don't need to make their content better. They don't need to necessarily reform or try to have a better user experience, because if they own the entirety of the culture, of the entertainment, and they have no competition that could even put a dent in them, why would they need to improve their web browser? Why would they need to improve, like, their search function? Why would they need to add comments? Why would they need to worry about if you can even communicate with them, because the only way you can actually get anime legally is through them? So, effectively, the damage here is that if a company holds the majority of anything, they don't need to innovate. They don't need to listen to their customers. The only time they necessarily do is if they start losing a lot of money and people start canceling their subscriptions. But then that gets into the era of piracy, and I'm not gonna do the moral high ground and stuff with that, but I'm just saying it's still not always a complete answer to the problem, because Crunchyroll now, they don't just have a iron grip on anime in the West, like for instance the United States or Europe and stuff. They have an iron grip on anime at the very source, where it's produced, with Aniplex as well being owned by Sony. It's not good, because this means that with the overall influence that Crunchyroll has, they can shape and mold certain things to get anime, or certain stories to get greenlit, and certain stories to just be, no, cancel that, get that out of here. And you can lead to more safer projects that, play it safe, do the exact same thing over and over, instead of trying to innovate and do something relatively unique. And we gotta look at the overall business model of what Crunchyroll has obviously been catering to, and what mainstream anime has been doing as well. We gotta think about it. Like, this recent Crunchyroll Anime Awards is very relevant to this topic, actually. It's very clear that shonen is a big moneymaker. Crunchyroll obviously sees this. Soul Leveling is a good example of this. And, you know, if that is going to continue, that trend is going to continue, and it will continue, that means that Crunchyroll will heavily put all their resources and everything into producing more anime like Soul Leveling, which would dilute the waters and make other projects, like, for instance, let's say if it's a slice of life series, fall on deaf ears or not be relatively important in comparison to a battle shonen action fest like Soul Leveling. Now, there's nothing wrong with enjoying these type of stories, but the big point here is that Crunchyroll doesn't just have a grip on distribution into the West. They have now been involved in anime projects, producing of anime at the source in Japan. So those that want to, let's say, theoretically pirate and get away from Crunchyroll and not even use their service, necessarily, you're still using their service, because if they are helping produce, like, for instance, something like Soul Leveling, technically you're still supporting them because you are watching the show that they produced. So there is really no escaping, because Crunchyroll's money and influence has grown to such an extent that, honestly, at this point in time, I don't really know what a solution is besides a rival company coming in or Crunchyroll going bankrupt, which I just... It's bad, man. This is a legitimately bad situation. Just seeing this type of article being made and seeing basically that Crunchyroll controls like 75%. I don't know if this number is entirely accurate. I have no idea, but I would have to pull up a list of anime that comes out on a yearly basis and cross-check that with, like, you know, what's on the Crunchyroll service. If someone's already done the math on this or the research into this, please let me know in the comments below. Or if someone wants to do that, also let me know in the comments below. But, I mean, it is kind of believable, because Crunchyroll does pick up a lot of projects, and typically, anytime they do pick up a project, usually it's exclusive, and that really kind of falls into what this statement from the actual CEO of Crunchyroll said, that he wants more exclusives on the platform. He wants anime to be strictly just Crunchyroll and not associated with any other platform, which gets into, like, you know, issues that means that people have to subscribe to Crunchyroll to even legally watch something. Inconvenient at that. But then, to go one step further with all of this issues, is the fact that we have seen Crunchyroll actively hinder, you know, and sabotage advertisement of anime that they have to share exclusive rights with. For instance, Dandadan. I talked about this already, but we saw how Crunchyroll reacted when Toho was like, hey, you gotta share the exclusive rights, you know, with Netflix as well. And because of that, Crunchyroll decided not to even advertise Dandadan. A lot of people didn't even know Dandadan was on their platform. So, when you see just this statement from the CEO himself about exclusivity, and you talk about how much they control, it's not good, man. It's really dark, man. Like, this is a dark time for the anime community. It's not good, man. Like, it's getting worse and worse as time goes on. But, I wanted to talk about this. I saw this grace my feed. What's your guys' thoughts? Do you think Crunchyroll actually does control 75% of anime that is produced, like that's coming out onto streaming? Or do you think that this number is inaccurate? If anyone could do the math and the research on this, please do so. I would love to see that and the data and stuff that accompanies it. But thank you so much for watching. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.